have to tell you a little story. I'd like to tell you a story. I'd like to start out with a story. I heard this saying the other day, and it said, early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. Now, if you have been following the show, you've noticed that I've been challenging a lot of the conventional wisdoms as of late, like fake it till you make it and bird in the hand and a few others. If you're the smartest person in the room, should you run out of the room? Well, this one now, I must say, this one may have hit the mark. Early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. Now, of course, now I'm going to give a little context because early to bed, early to rise, that might depend on how you interpret early to bed. Some people say early to bed means going to bed at 9 o'clock at night, but if you have to go to work at 9 o'clock, that's going to be a little impossible. You might do it, but it's going to be hard. Also, and plus there's one thing about that quote that I must say that it may be a little more, what's a better word to say? It might be a little insensitive to people of different sexual orientations because it does say early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. So I'm just going to assume that they meant mankind or all people because back in the day, boy, they didn't really give a hoot about what women thought. Don't even talk about other sexual orientations. So I'm going to, but that aside, let's assume we're talking about everybody, not just men. But early to bed, early to rise, to me means that if you want to be your absolute best self, if you want health, if you want wealth, and if you want wisdom, without complicating the matters, you need some rest. Let me tell you something, folks. As I got a little older and a little longer in the tooth, I'm realizing the value of getting some rest. It's like a carpenter. He has to sharpen his tools every now and then. You just can't keep running and burning the midnight oil and expect to be your absolute best. It's just not going to happen. So I think they attribute this quote to Benjamin Franklin, the guy that flew the kites and out there in the weather with the kite and doing lightning, trying to figure out how electricity works. But whoever said it, I'm going to give them some props. Ladies and gentlemen, and even you young people, and of course, an old head like me, we need our rest. We'll just be walking down the street and just fall over and go to sleep. But even you younger people, you have to find time to rejuvenate. You can't just keep running and running and running. You're saying if I just spend a little more time, if I can just add another hour here, I'm going to sleep through the night. I'm going to stay up all night and not get my sleep. Let me tell you something, folks, all kind of ills that you have not attributed to lack of sleep could be attributed to lack of sleep. Did you know that your eyes actually can dry out? You wake up in the morning, you got the gritty eye, and it's because you didn't close those eyes. They didn't get the moisture that it takes during the night when you're sleeping, and all kind of issues. So it doesn't have to be a dry eye. It could be anything. It could be lack of attention. It could be overstress. It could be bad eating habits. A lot of those things are attributed to not getting your rest. So whoever said it, whether it's Benjamin Franklin or Benjamin Banneker or Benjamin Bottoms, you got to get your rest, ladies and gentlemen. Early to bed, early to rise makes that man, woman, child, whatever your orientation, healthy, wealthy, and wise. And that's my thought for today. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick break. I'd like to welcome everybody. Thank you again for joining us. Mr. Richard Miles of the Minor Football League. They're trying to go up into Africa and do some great things. So thank you again for joining us. Thank you, Manny, out of North Carolina. Got North Carolina in the house. We got folks from all over the place, by the way. I'm going to tell you that. We have people listening from Africa, from California, from New Jersey, from Texas, from Florida. The reason I know, because they're telling me. Now, there's some of the messages we put up on the board, but some people that are listening, they don't put the message up on the board, but they might email me personally, some DM me, and boy, I tell you one thing about putting your face out there, people will contact you. They'll let you know, and they'll let you know if they agree with you too. So that's okay. I'm a big boy. I can take it. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about what's happening in the news, and you don't want to miss this. Boy, the news, man, I'm telling you, life is better than fiction. You don't have to turn on these. You don't have to turn into these Lifetime movies and all that kind of stuff anymore. Man, news is better than any of that stuff. You can just turn on the news and get you a good bag of popcorn and some coffee or whatever, and just sit there and go through the news. But you know what I realized also, ladies and gentlemen? I was watching the election the other night, and I realized that, man, you have to take a break from that stuff too. You be sitting there, your candidate's not winning, you stressed all out, sitting there staring at the screen all night, and then you wake up the next morning, you think the world's going to come to an end because your candidate didn't win, but you realize not much changed. Nothing changed at all. You still had your job, you still had your house, still had your money in the bank, you were still healthy, when you got your rest like you did healthy, wealthy, and wise, but sometimes you got to take a break. I mean, yes, you want your candidate to win. You have issues. You want to support, make sure that people are not affected negatively. But sometimes, I think when we're talking about that healthy, wealthy, and wisdom, we got to turn off that TV every now and then, because the news, even if the news that you agree with, man, it's like Chicken Little. The sky's falling. It's all over if you don't. Anyway.